had a chance to speak, D.S. Deepak Niraj appeared from inside the house. "You're here, boss," Niraj said. He was dressed in his standard black leather jacket with a checked shirt visible underneath. His hair, as always, had been gelled to perfection. "I've only just got here myself. I've just been chatting to the uniforms. A bloke's been stabbed. Paramedics tried to save him, but there wasn't a hope." "What are we talking about here, Deep? Robbery? Attempted burglary?" Niraj shrugged. "It's a right mess in there, boss. His partner called it in. She's not saying much, though. She's with a neighbour now." He jerked his head towards the house next door. "The paramedics reckon she's in shock." He paused for a second. "They've got a baby, too." Denning slipped on a pair of protective shoe covers and a white forensic suit. The entrance hallway was narrow, barely the width of the front door. A trail of blood led to the door to the flat. He squeezed along the narrow hallway and entered. Although the outside looked a little shabby, the interior was pleasantly decorated. Light walls and modern furniture, small but homely. The body was lying in the living room. A male, aged in his mid-20s by the look of it. It was obvious he'd staggered from the front door where the attack took place into the flat's living room where he'd died. Gorton raised a hand as soon as she spotted Denning enter the flat. She made her way over to join him. "Not a lot of room in here to work," she grumbled. She nodded at a grey-haired, bearded man in his 50s who was tending the body. Denning recognised him as Dr. Baker, the pathologist. It must be serious for him to come out. These days, police budget cuts meant pathologists were becoming an increasing rarity at crime scenes. "Stabbed once," Baker said, nodding a greeting at Denning. "In the stomach, puncturing the abdominal aorta. Quick and very messy." Denning looked at the trail of blood that had followed him into the living room of the tiny home. "He was still breathing when the paramedics got here, but there wasn't much they could do. The wound was too deep and the blood loss too great. He didn't stand a chance." Denning turned to Gorton. "I take it we've got a name?" She nodded. "Kieran Judd, age 28. His partner's called Cassie Bain. She's been moved next door, number 42. She threw a sad look at Denning. "They've got an 18-month-old baby. Luckily, he was in the kitchen having his dinner at the time. That's where Cassie was when it happened. She's still in shock, so I'm not sure how much she'll be able to tell us." "Right now," Denning said, "anything at all would be useful. I wouldn't hold your breath." She must have heard something. Apparently not. She heard the doorbell go, but she had the radio on, so whatever passed in the way of conversation between them was unheard by her. Denning glanced out the window and saw the crime scene investigators' van pulling up. He knew that within minutes the whole area would be sealed and turned over to forensics. He took one last look at the body. The flat looked so normal, neat, tidy, pictures on the wall and books on the shelves. Normal, ordinary. These were the words that shouted at Denning. Why would someone want to kill Kieran Judd? Number 42 Porter Street was the mirror of its neighbour. A uniformed officer led Denning and Niraj along a similar narrow corridor into the tiny flat. Cassie Bain was sitting on a sofa staring blankly at a mug of cold-looking tea. She was in her early 20s, straight hair tied back in a ponytail. The neighbour introduced herself as Beth Marshall. She was slightly older than Cassie. Denning reckoned she was in her early 30s. She was short and slim with curly hair. She asked them if they wanted anything to drink, which they declined. "Where's the child?" Denning asked. "He's sleeping in our bedroom." She nodded at Cassie. Poor love wasn't in any fit state to think, let alone look after a baby. Denning sat down next to Cassie, while Niraj sat on a chair by the window. "Cassie, I'm Detective Inspector Denning, and this is Detective Sergeant Niraj. We need to ask you a few questions about what happened." She stared at her mug for